That's right. Welcome in, welcome back, folks, to the future of the quarterback position at Notre Dame could again get tricky edition of the Always Irish Show. Thanks for being here. Happy to be here. Happy to have you here. Obviously, you can find the program on YouTube. Do it. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Appreciate it very much. Give the video a thumbs up. That helps me as well. Notifications on, that way you're alerted every time breaking news happens, which around Notre Dame is all the time. Okay, all the time. Here's the only thing though. Why is it that most of the big breaking news around Notre Dame is always negative stuff? Can we balance out the ledger and have the breaking news be Notre Dame got five-star recruits? Like, why is the big breaking Notre Dame news always stuff that makes you upset or nervous or sad or mad? Just throwing that out there. All right. Twitter, always Irish rat, always Irish emails, alwaysirishnd@gmail.com. Audio only, anywhere you want me, you can locate me. Colin line 312-900-8815. A lot of people told John what they heard and seen on this morning's radio show. Keep it up. I love the energy. Fighting Irish Wire. Dude, you type it in the computer and then the words come out and you read them. It's beautiful. So here's the deal. Never a dull moment with Notre Dame football. Doesn't matter what. It's never boring. It's always something. We all know that. That's been my whole life. It's always the next something. And like I already covered, the somethings are usually never great. So, with Tyler Buckner exploring the portal, I wanted to take a few minutes just for my own sanity to talk about the future of the quarterback position for Notre Dame in the short term and the long term, depending on how this goes. So let's break down the different ways this could end up going and what that scenario looks like for Notre Dame moving forward, okay? If he stays, he's only looking at a small group of schools and then they talk and it doesn't work out, whatever it is. He wants to be the starter if he makes a move and they're not willing to promise that. Like, it could be a lot of different things in that mix. If Buckner stays, you feel really great next year about him as the backup to Hartman. So that would be the best case scenario right now. Now, you could argue, is that going to be awkward that everybody knew he tried to leave and it didn't work back, so then he came back? Does that create some rift in the locker room or make the coaches think of him different? I don't look at it that way. This is probably why Freeman told him he could stay, even if he went in the portal and didn't like it, because they all know they want him as the backup next year. Not as the starter, but as the damn backup. And he'd be a really solid backup. Okay? So if he stays, yeah, it could be a little awkward or whatever, but I think that'd be worked through. And then Notre Dame has a really good 1-2 quarterback punch. And you feel like if Hartman gets dinged up for a quarter of one game, Buckner could come right in and do okay. Okay. So if he comes back, then you're pretty much in a good spot then. And this is all loot stress over nothing. And the other reason I like it is if he does come back, guess what? There's no confusion at all about who the starter is going to be now. Is there? Or are any of you still going to tell me there's a competition? So many of you people ignored what your own eyes saw. A bunch of you literally chose to ignore what your own eyes told you was going on, and I don't understand it. Is there that many sheep that just fall for Notre Dame's PR? Come on. Do you believe everything the government tells you in the politics too? Like, no, I'm not that naive, man. Not that naive. So, that's another benefit if he does return, is you don't have that question of who's the guy. We're not naming a starter. You know right away the 1-2 where this falls. So you could skip all those debates, skip all those arguments, and just get into the season knowing the dynamic, who's 1 and 2. Hartman, Buckner. So that's if he stays. No doubt, I mean, him staying offers the most immediate short-term stability with him backing up Hartman. You could argue for developmental purposes, like it's better for the younger guys or whatever, but production from the backup role, there's no doubt Buckner would have been the best at that. Now, if he leaves to go to Alabama to reunite with Tommy Boy, whatever, if he leaves and goes anywhere, Notre Dame's in a risky spot next year. If the starter gets hurt, you are screwed for another year, just like we were last year. Okay? Hartman Buckner as a 1-2 is fantastic for Notre Dame, especially with young Minchie and young Carr coming up behind that group. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. So Hartman Buckner, I'm down with. Hartman to Angeli, however, that's yikes. That's yikesy. How is that not big yikes? Like, that makes me nervous. Like, I understand there is an angle here that says people are underestimating Angeli. He doesn't get the fanfare that Minchie and Carr are getting and have gotten as recruits and all that. We may very well be underestimating Angeli and all that, but I feel 100% more comfortable if I need a backup running Buckner out there than Angeli. So that's the risk for Notre Dame. You could end up in the same deja vu screwed spot that we were in last year all over again. All over again. So that's this next upcoming year. If Buckner leaves, Hartman has to stay alive and in one piece all year, no exceptions. You cannot have this nightmare 2 years in a row repeat itself where your starter goes down. You just can't do it again. So that would be this immediate year. After that, things get interesting again. So that's where the next big question comes in. Will it be Minchie versus Carr versus Angeli? That's what it's going to be. But you'd feel a lot better if Buckner was in that mix. Would you not? Like, they are all kind of unknowns, but Buckner's at least the most known of the unknowns, you know? I literally mean that. They would all be kind of unknowns, but Buckner's the most known of the unknown. And I'm waiting for him to be grown. So that gets tricky. You can have year 2 Minchie, Carr in with all the fanfare as a young guy, and then you would have Buckner, and then it's Angeli. That is a very, very dangerous dynamic if somebody doesn't rise up and claim that spot. And not because they're the best of the guys struggling, but that they legitimately jump up and own it and they earn it. If Minchie develops and explodes, or Carr comes in and he's just undeniable from day one, then I love that. I would absolutely love that. Of all the things Notre Dame has done and tried, the one that they have not been able to do and try is actually hitching their wagon to a young player with huge upside and a huge skill set and a body that can handle it. Match that up with improving skill, talent, throw them out there young, let them all develop and grow together. That's the one angle Notre Dame doesn't do. We don't do that. We live off of potential and maybe next year and like if this and if that, maybe this guy will be good. And then 2 to 3 years later, I'm still wondering when that's coming. And then that doesn't work. So then you're getting a one and done transfer guy 2 times. That's not stability. That's not long-term stability here. It's not. It would just be really nice if Notre Dame could recruit an elite young player and he could grow with his teammates and learn through the mistakes and the growing pains together. and end up a great team after a couple years through that process. That'd be ideal. Whether you hitch that wagon to Minchie, whether you hitch it to Carr, and it's like, here's how I look at this. Notre Dame quarterbacks tend to make like mistakes and not be that great lately. And I'm seeing that from even the older quarterbacks we got. Ian Book's numbers went down the longer he played under Kelly. Didn't go up. Statistically, they went down. Like, bro, if I'm going to have all that, I'd rather just have a freshman out there. At least there is the potential that a freshman making mistakes as the quarterback in Notre Dame or a sophomore, that they're going to not do that in a couple years while at Notre Dame, and it's going to be great. I got older guys making mistakes. So why not have it be younger guys that can learn from it when I got older guys not getting us over the hump either? Give me the young guy. So I don't know. It'd be really nice if Notre Dame could somewhere along the line commit to a young quarterback, know there's going to be some growing pains, but know that it's going to be worth it and just run with it. But to do that, you have to recruit that position well enough that a guy could actually play as a freshman and not die out there because he's not big enough or strong enough or can't read a defense or any of that. So a part of that's a recruiting issue of why we haven't added here recently. Because Kelly wasn't doing enough job to have one of those guys that you could even realistically play young. And that's on him. Now we're trying to change that and have 1 and 2 year guys that can play early. So I don't know. I just, this could all work out. Notre Dame threads the needle. If Buckner leaves, Hartman stays healthy, and then you avoid that dynamic, that nightmare again, if you could get through next year. And then you need to hope one of those young guys is ready to really take the horns and demand that the wagon be hitched to them for the next few years, and off we go. The other thing it could end up being is something like Minchie has a year on Carr. Maybe he gets that job when Carr's a freshman, but the next year there's a heated competition there. That could be the dynamic. I'm starting to want to get away from the patchwork transfer guys unless it's like the best guy that there is. So I guess Hartman, the USC guy, that would maybe be different. But that's just too much instability. It'd be really nice of Notre Dame to come into one of these fall camps with a really great quarterback. Everybody knows has proved himself, can get the job done, and we all feel good about. Why can't we ever just have that? I don't know. Notre Dame makes it harder than it has to be sometimes. I just that one dynamic bugs me every year. Why can't Notre Dame enter camp with a good young a good quarterback? You know he's good. I mean, we'll have it this year if Hartman's healthy, but you know what I mean? Big picture with our homegrown guys. It's always question this, potential that, maybe this, if that, maybe this. We never just know what we have is good, and it's annoying. So for this year, if this goes down, Buckner leaves, and Hartman goes down for any reason, on the field, walking down Buckner's staircase that he fell down and got injured on, it could be deja vu. Worst case scenario, nightmare all over again. Last year, all over again is what you'd be looking at. Nightmare. Yeah, that's what it'd be. So I don't know what you do. I would even be willing. Here's how important Hartman is now to all this if Buckner leaves. I don't know what that offense is going to look like exactly. Bro, I might go through it and pull out a couple plays where we have Hartman keeping the ball to not risk hits. He is going to be that critically important next year if Buckner leaves. I am not kidding you. I would tell that dude, do not take any hits. You don't have to. The hell with that extra yard and a half, get out of bounds. If this happens this way, he is so important. You got to keep him upright. So I don't know what you got to do. So Notre Dame could thread the needle on this, and threading the needle on this means Hartman stays alive all next year. So you don't have to worry about the backup except for mop-up duty. Then you avoid that nightmare we had last year. And then the second part of threading the needle is somebody claims that job the following year in that competition. Not just you give it to the guy who makes the least mistakes. I want a guy to claim that spot. That would be a good dynamic. So I don't know what's going to happen, you guys. This is going to be really interesting. As soon as any news breaks one way or the other, we're going to cover it. You know that. But it's never a dull moment at Notre Dame. And here's the other thing, man. Some of what we go through at Notre Dame with this quarterback stuff and the transfer portal, some of that is natural, that transient nature of that. Not as much as Notre Dame. Notre Dame's quarterback situation has been embarrassing for a very, very, very long time. Recruiting, development, retention, embarrassing. Like, it has been so far below the Notre Dame standard, it's a joke that the most important position in sports, Notre Dame has not been able to figure out any stability in, high-level stability. That's a joke, and that all has to change, and I feel like that's what Freeman's trying to change. We're going to have to see how it goes. Whatever happens, I'll be here for it. Let me know what you guys think.